my friend. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, my friend. How are you?
I am beautiful in a snowstorm, pink hoodie, cup of coffee, ready to go.
I love it. I mean, how's the hair coming? Did we just stop growing it out, or?
No, it's still here. I'll share it with everybody. It's coming. It's coming in good.
Yes.
It's coming
Thank
in
you.
good.
Thank you for making my day for showing the world that.
Of course. Actually, I think it's the first time it's been publicly unveiled in 4 months with the hat coming off. So we're all about firsts and to the point with Eric Mitchell.
I love it. So I wanted to jump in to tell a few folks, we kind of just threw you into this. So everybody, this is George Bryant. As you figured out from, of course, two Marines talking, you instantly hear one of us says that we're Marines. But George, you have an incredible story. And I read your background and heard about your legs. Can you just walk me through that? Because you had your
no pun intended on the walk.
On the walk, but can you? I know, right? Can you tell us more about that? Because your legs, your calf muscles, they like basically exploded, right?
Yeah. So we stopped it from happening, but it was pretty painful. So I had what was called exercise-induced compartment syndrome. So on a lovely deployment to Somalia in 2004, back in my Marine days, I was really addicted to working out, bodybuilding, everything else. Well, when you add, 60 pounds to a frame that it doesn't need, and, a combat load of 70 pounds in 120, 130 degree weather, I was basically on a mission, and I was running, and my legs they hurt so bad. It felt like shin splints on steroids. And then all of a sudden, pop, I was out cold, like completely out cold. I passed out from the pain. And I woke up and they said I had exercise-induced compartment syndrome. So basically there's like 4 compartments in your calf. Don't Google it if you just ate. And all the blood would pump down, but it couldn't come back up. So instead it just expands and expands. And it either happens traumatically or sometimes it's induced. And if they don't stop it, it basically just... Luckily for me, there was a doc there, needle in the leg, drained it out, got brought back to medical facilities. But yeah, it ended up turning into a pretty dangerous road. It was bilateral in both my legs. They told me I'd never walk again. They talked about potentially amputating my legs. And I was a stubborn Marine, as you know, and I was like, I'd rather have my legs and have a chance of using them than you taking them. And so went through about 6 surgeries, 12 months in a wheelchair, and 18 months of physical therapy, but I still have them. They're in my shorts below the table because we're working from home. So it's just, waist up these days. And I ended up tying a world record for a standing box jump and ran some Ironmans and marathons. And I can't feel them from the knee down, but I can still use them, which is key. So if you ever see me walking on the street and I trip, I'm completely fine and I have an excuse. No need to judge me. You can laugh with me because I laugh about it. I pick myself up and keep going. So that's kind of what happened to my legs.
I love it. I mean, I don't love that happened to you, but it was an interesting story that I read. So let's hop into why I wanted you on. You are the guy I personally turn to when I'm looking for some motivation when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And you put a unique spin on everything. Number one, you provide a lot of free information to folks. You take away from all these hacks and coaches that are out there, and I'm going to call them exactly that. These folks that are out there selling these programs that have no business doing anything. They've never owned a brand, done a thing, but they're out there, pitching courses, right? I mean, I see it being in PR. Everybody's a PR expert, yet they've never placed a single person on TV. It's like, really? When was the last time you put somebody on TV? Tell me name and date. I mean, I belong to groups that you have to have somebody on weekly to stay in the group. So it's kind of crazy. So when I see it, so for you, I love what you say. And I'm going to look at my notes because your exact wording is develop deeper relationships with your customers, employees, and themselves. Yeah. Walk us through that in today's environment. As you're well aware of, we have the coronavirus that has taken over basically everything, and it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay.
It's here to stay.
It
is here to stay. Yeah. You know what really I love about it? It removed the veil. It really, really did. It removed the veil that everybody was used to, where you could get away having faceless, where you could transact because people were in a net neutral state. So they were like, oh, it's an expenditure. But now, human agency was taken away, which means all of the veils kind of fell to what it is. And so I trademarked this term and I teach this process called relationship speed algorithms, right? And when it comes to business, when it comes to marketing, people don't buy the best products, they buy the best relationship. And that's where most businesses fail to meet the mark, right? It's about, the numbers factory. If I put 100 in, then I'll get 10 out and it'll make this back, so then I get 100 more. But they don't realize that for every 1,000 people that I put into a room, if I'm like, how many of you like George? Only 100 hands go up. And I'm like, how many of you don't? And 900 go up. And businesses have been creating anti-marketing machines for years, by not understanding just simply the power of relationships. So I help companies build deeper relationships with their customers by literally teaching them that your business doesn't exist if it's predicated on a credit card transaction. Your business mission, like Nike's not like, oh, just do it when you pay me $7,000, right? That's not how it works. It's just do it. And you have to build a business that way for it to be a business. And so we teach people how to use the power of relationships over algorithms to scale their business, to start their business, to grow their business. But it all starts from within, right? You can't grow a company if the CEO or the founder isn't growing themselves. And I say nobody has a marketing problem. Everybody has a relationship problem with themselves, their team, and their customers, informed in that order. And so when we think about it now, what's happening in the current state of the world, and everybody's kind of net neutral, right? The big words that are being thrown around are safety, security, and certainty. But you can't throw those words around to create that feeling. You have to be that way, right? You can tell people I've seen emails from, I'm in your corner, like we're in this together. I'm like, as you're sitting on your private beach, flying in your jet, you're not in this with anybody, right? Like you have to be in a relationship with people. And one thing that you start to realize when you build massive companies, and I've built over 300 companies into 7, 8, 9, and 10 figures, and whatever the billion is, I don't even know, 2 of them. And when you think about it, you start to realize that people, customers, they're not buying products. They're voting with their dollars as that product, but that product is just a bridge. What they're really paying for is access and accountability. Nobody buys a product and they're like, oh, I'm buying this, I'm buying this workout equipment because I think it's going to do the work for me, or it's going to be magic. No, they understand that they have to use it. But the reason that they're choosing it is because they're trusting that brand or trusting that business, that once they do buy, that brand or business is going to help hold them accountable to what was promised. And that's really where we focus all of our time. And so what I love about right now is all the curtains dropped, and you know who was in Oz behind one and who wasn't, because all you're left with right now is human relationships, right? People are consuming podcast consumptions up 40%, social media consumptions up 11 times. And what people are starting to see is who was actually here and here to support as a person, not as a business, and who wasn't. And it's really kind of unveiled the game, and people are starting to see what it's like. And, we've seen this across the board. I've had clients from pre-revenue all the way up to $37 billion a year calling me. What do I do? What do I do? NBA teams, athletes, movie stars, you name it, they all call. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And the truth is that most of the businesses that I'm watching thrive right now are the ones that have always valued the relationship with their customers prior to this happening. And it's a massive opportunity right now.
So that's a great point. And I didn't get to bring it up with Joel, but I'll bring it up with you as a business owner who talks to a lot of big brands, small brands, everything in between. As you know, over the weekend, it came out that some of big brands, and I'll name them, Ruth Chris, Shake Shack, Potbelly, the list goes on. They were first in line for these CARE Act bailouts that were supposed to be for businesses under 500 people. They were first in line. And then it came out that their legal team actually got it ahead of time, so they knew everything. So the moment it came live, they dropped it, they got it. And they weren't taking a little bit of money. They were taking 20, 50, 60 million. Then it comes out, even better. I love this. And then there's more. Ruth Chris had almost $100 million in the bank and still had the nerve to ask for a $25 million loan.
Yep.
Is this the classic case of that actually hurts them? Because now people see it, and now all I see on social is support more small businesses. Now, it's not the NBA or any of the sports teams that are doing this. And in fact, it's not Nike. It's these greed is like driving it. And now it's exposed. And I think that's where our country becomes tighter around this subject, where people are like, now I don't want to go there. I don't care. It's Shake Shack. And I don't care if Shake Shack gave back the money. Like, oh, look, we gave it back. I saw that. Ooh, good for you, Shake Shack. You did it because your PR team was on fire. And I'm not talking in the good way. You blew up the bridge and you left Nagasaki behind. And you're like, oh, we gave it back. So what's your thoughts on that? I mean, when it comes to
here's the thing. Like, I love this. I own 7 businesses, and we're multiple, a few of my 3 off the top of my head. We do between 8 and 12 million a year. And we said, hey, we're not laying anybody off. And we told our employees, you're getting paid. We cut our pay as owners, and we're down 70%. And then we applied for PPP and EIDL, and we were denied. We submitted our application 45 minutes after it opened, and they said we ran out of money. And so we're the ones that are like, we're supporting people on the ground. And these guys that are in big holding groups are literally collecting. Banks are making 16 billion in just fees in this alone. And like the loyalties really have kind of fallen on the thing. But what I love about all of this happening, like I said, the veils are coming off. We've been talking about years running movements like support small business, right? Support the local people. But yet the voting and the action with the dollars wasn't following suit because everybody was so in their patterns or so in their normal thing. And like now what you're really seeing is who's been in it from the get-go, right? Like I'm in Mammoth Lakes, California right now, and I'm watching these restaurant owners like reinvent themselves every single day. And they're like, nothing's coming to me, so I have to do this. And we support them. We'll buy their meals for takeout so we can cook them at home. Then they're offering free lunch every day. They're cooking free lunch on their dollars to feed the first responders and the hospital workers and anybody who needs it in these times. And like now is the time greater than ever to show your loyalty and show your alliance to what is actually the heartbeat. Like the heartbeat of this country, like the blood coursing through the veins of this country is not from up here. They think it is because we've allowed that to happen, because we vote with our attention, we vote with our dollars. But this country is founded and built upon small businesses, people that have a dream and a passion that really genuinely care about helping other people. And they're going to continue to do it, whether they get bailed out or not. And that's really where we have to support it. And so, yeah, when this is happening, like all the cards are on the table, right? Stoicism, they call this a memento mori. Like what's the field really look like? What's the game that we're playing? And now everybody's starting to see it. Everybody's starting to see who was really concerned. Like I'm reading bad press about people that are literally, and Eric, I'm sure you've seen it. It's like, oh, this is the best person in the world, like the nicest person ever. And now, of course, their staff comes out and they're like, oh, for the last 20 years, we've been emotionally abused while we're projecting this image on television. And here's the truth. When the veil comes off, all you're left with is the truth. And now is the most important time to pay attention to where you're going to use this moving forward, because there is no switch next week that like life is going back to normal. Business is going back to normal. We're developing and establishing a new normal, but in that we also get to choose what we tolerate and what we allow, because we are the ones that are in power. We're the ones that make the decisions, and we're the ones that make these things work or not work. And so that's kind of my short answer on that one.
I love that answer, man. That's a lot of what I've heard. And I know I talked offline to you about this. I actually spoke to an amazing door gunner Marine. She's a badass. She'll be on the show on Thursday. And she talked about this Marine mindset, which I kind of was like, oh, is this like some vet bro thing? And it wasn't. It was a total, I like it because it kind of takes adapt and overcome, and something that I don't even think about and haven't thought about for a long time. But it's true. Like it's ingrained in us where we do naturally kind of flow and want to keep our normalcy. And then you look at some of these businesses that are completely freaking out, and their true colors are coming out. I mean, there's some big time influencers who, lounge on Lambos and lay on plane wings and do all this stuff. And they fire their entire staff and then threaten them with cease and desist orders if they dare speak up. Yep. And it's like, so the true colors start coming out over and over again. And you hit the nail on the head. And that's what I really love is I think that's where we're at now is that you're right. There is no switch. And as a matter of fact, I actually stole this phrase from you. We're building the plane as we're going down the runway when it comes to what we're doing now. Business today is being truly redesigned and built going down the runway. For a matter of fact, right before we came on air, I read an article that the CDC is sending a recommendation to all large grocery stores so no more people can go in. They want to make it outside. Could you imagine that? Now, we've been using Instacart and Safeway delivery. Thank you, Safeway. We've been using those and our friends at Whole Foods. Thank you, Amazon. We've been using those delivery service. It's not new to us, but so many people, it's foreign. Like, how do I do that? I don't go to the grocery store. And I'm talking about our baby boomers. This is new to them. I mean, I'm shocked I'm still not setting the VCR for my parents. That's because I gave them an Apple TV and it does it automatically. But they still have a VCR. I just want the world to know my parents still have one of those dual head VCRs. But I think that you coined that, and I appreciate you for doing that. So before we go, we're going to have you back on. I want to have you on weekly because you're motivating us all get out, brother. So Mondays, you're on. Motivation Monday. George is on every Monday. We give him, he's got a segment. But before we go, tell folks, how they can get in touch with you. This is a guy you definitely want to follow. If there's anybody, I know I don't hype very many people, and I know there's other branches out there going, he's only doing this because they're Marines. You're really going to be pissed because guess what the next guest is also?
Love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Just, it's weird how all the guests happen to be from the same branch. I don't know how this happens. It
Hey,
must
it's
be the
just the
book of it.
power of relationships, Eric. They beat algorithms all day, right?
All day long, baby. So tell
It's
folks how
sewn
they can
in.
get a hold of you. There's some comments in the feed. I'll get to you afterwards. Some great comments about you, George. So you should probably go check them out. But tell folks how they can get a hold of you and find out more.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. The best place to find me, I make this easy, mindofgeorge.com. I'm a little crazy, so just remember mindofgeorge.com. I have a podcast, comes out 3 times a week. I try to give away everything I can to empower business owners, entrepreneurs, or human beings to live the best life possible. So everything that you need is on there. Our free Facebook groups on there, free content for you, and our podcast. So I'd love you to subscribe to the podcast. Let me know. And if you have any requests, hit me up and I'd be there to support you. So mindofgeorge.com, MINDOF, and then GEORGE, not Jorge, George.com. That's
Now
the best
you're
place.
showing off, showing your spelling tech skills and everything.
I know. I live in SoCal, so I get called Jorge all the time, and I love it. But I have to remember that my name is George.
Yes. I mean, but there is a great Yankees catcher, Jorge Posada. So
yeah, but I'm from Boston, so now we're gonna get into it. Good thing is I don't watch sports.
You're the guy. I'm sorry, we're having bad audio. I can't hear you. I don't. Sorry, bad comms, bro. I gotta let you go now. No, just kidding. Thanks for being on. We'll have you on next Monday, buddy. Have yourself a great week. Again, George Bryant, ladies and gentlemen, go follow him. Check out his podcast. It's a doozy. I'm going to add it to our YouTube. So if you're watching us after hours, just scroll down. You'll find the link. Go subscribe and give a listen. George, thanks for coming on, bud. Have yourself a great week.
We'll see you next Monday.